different voices. I am Dr. Luz Maria,
I'm Lisa Frank.
and today's episode is about.
Work life balance.
Oh my goodness, it is a topic we are going to cover and address some of the issues our communities are dealing with. Especially, I'm going to talk a little bit about my work with my clients. As some of you may know, I am a sex and intimacy coach, and work life balance, Lisa, does affect the bedroom.
Yes, it does.
It does.
Yes, it does. And as a life coach who deals with crisis, grief, mental illness, people are when they're in those spaces, it's hard to balance your life, your work, while you're dealing with those stressors as well.
Yes, and what I end up seeing with like a lot of the work that I do is you have couples that at the beginning they're just by themselves, so everything is like this beautiful honeymoon phase.
Yeah.
And then after that, life starts dealing with responsibilities and the children come along and then
Yes.
so many things start to show up. Eventually they disappear from each other.
Yeah, and then in that shift, like, I think my heart goes out to single mothers.
Yes.
You talked about that, and you share a little bit about the program that you're part of.
Yes.
You were a part of, and so I'm sure you'll
Share
get
that
into
with
that
others.
a little more, share it with our viewers. But I think about my daughter, and there's times when I feel like, especially when we were living together, sharing a house, and she has one daughter. So I think about her and how there were times when she would just say, "Ma, I'm just so frustrated. It's hard, just being a single parent." And I'm looking at her saying, and most of the time I would say to her, "Huh? Well, we live in the same house. Like, aren't we doing this together?" And she explained to me, she said, "Yeah, Ma, we're living in the same house, but I don't treat you as a partner when it comes to parenting her,
Yeah.
because she's my responsibility. When my friends ask me to go out, I have to check. I don't just automatically say, expect you to watch her. I have to think, you have a life of your own."
Yes.
So I didn't understand that frustration that she experienced, but obviously, well, it's common.
Yeah, it is. And there's so many like books and things to read everywhere about balancing work-life
Yeah.
balance. So in though some of the stuff really do not make sense for single moms.
It doesn't.
And it's as beautiful as it may be. So with that in mind, I'm going to share the program that
Yeah.
I participated in a clinic. And I say it is the best program that I was part of ever in my whole entire career within an
Wow.
institution,
Yeah.
because that's the only program I really saw that it really made a difference for single moms and their children.
Right.
And the way it looked like, and I just want to share with all of you that the reason I'm sharing this program with you, that if you can take it out there to your community, please do, please do. So Lisa, the way this program looks is we had 3 days out of the week. It was Monday, Tuesday, and Thursday, where single mothers we would provide food. So they would actually come in, sit at the table. They would have dinner together as a family, and we had like different little topics that they would have. So they started to learn how to connect with each other for those that did not. And there was no TV, there was no phone. It was actually, we had a little basket where you came in, you dropped off your phone. So that was not acceptable.
Oh, that's awesome.
It is awesome.
It is awesome.
And the kids loved it. They loved it because there was amazing food. And we had different things like fried chicken. Would have pasta. We would have all these amazing stuff. And
Sounds
then,
good to me.
yeah, and you know what?
I'd have picked up somebody else's kid off the block and said, I'm single with this baby right here. With
Yes.
the baby now. Oh, I forgot.
Yeah, so you can imagine the level of stress that was taken away from the moms is to have some warm food on the table and that their kids were going to smile. Then after that, we actually had tutors to
Okay.
work with children with doing their homework. And those
Nice.
teenagers or whatever issues, we actually had different therapists work with mothers and the teenagers on the same topic.
Nice.
So having the same topic allow them to be able to learn how to communicate. So this was
Gave them something to talk about too
Yeah.
afterwards. They learned it in their own environment with their peers on their level, and then when they came back together with their parents, they can talk about what they learned. That's awesome.
So they got food, they got tutoring, and then so they dealt with their mental health. Everything about that was just such an amazing program.
It's beautiful.
So again, it's like balancing work life.
Let's not forget the fried chicken. You guys was eating up in that place.
That was one of the kids' favorite with macaroni and cheese, and then we actually allowed them to give us some options, and we
Yes.
did. We really catered to them, and
That's
that
awesome.
program was just amazing. So yes, so
Yeah. I mean, I'm hoping that as our viewers listen, that it might be something, because, we're looking for solutions as well to life
yes,
challenges. So I'm hoping that it's something that maybe they can say, oh, maybe we can do something like that in our community. One of the things when my son was little, he wasn't in school, and I was a stay-at-home mom, so I would go to MOPS, Mothers of Preschoolers. And in Mothers of Preschoolers, I developed a community. I developed certain, you just attract each other,
yes,
right?
yeah,
Like-minded people. And so I had this one woman, her name was Susan, and she's just an amazing person. And the funny thing about us, what brought us together, our sons were born on the same day.
ah,
And we would
okay,
go out with them to the restaurant, and boys would be boys, and they get a little, anxious and energetic, and people would look at us, and we'd say, "Sorry, the twins are acting up again," and people would look at us strange, and we'd laugh. Well, the running joke
yes,
is that I'm African American, she was white.
oh,
So when we said the twins are acting up again, people would look at us like, huh?
that's pretty, that's pretty funny.
Like what? So, but it was an amazing relationship, and that lasted, and we were there for each other. If one had to do something, the other one would take them. We learned to get involved in each other's lives to the point where we understood each other, understood how each other functioned, and developed a trust, because you don't want to just leave your child with anyone.
Yes, it's really true.
So these programs are an opportunity for you to build a relationships with other women who are in the same situation,
Yeah.
so you could provide some relief.
And there's also a lot of technology has brought up a lot of other opportunities, like
Yeah.
the meetup with, for single moms, where they can actually go together and meet up and help each other take care of their
Yeah.
kids. So again, with caution, like
Yeah.
we're never going to say go forward without
Right.
being responsible and checking out moms. So
Right. But even, you brought up social media, okay? And, when you are talking before, I was just saying that, that's helpful,
Yeah.
yes. But social media has also created some issues with balancing
Majors.
work and life, right?
Yes,
My aunt, often asks me when we're talking, she's so much older than me, well, by 20 years. And, but still, that's a different generation. And she says, well, why is, I saw online this person showed their house and it looked like crazy in there, chaos, and what are people doing, and what have you. And I told her, I said, we have to take a look at social media. I don't think that we were really prepared for everything that came along with it,
Yeah.
right?
it is.
Yeah,
It is.
it takes a
Social
lot of time away from the things that you guys will focus on cleaning the house and cooking and taking care of the kids and your spouse. We go online to do one thing. Sometimes it's business,
Yeah.
and before you know it, one post leads to another post leads to, and you look up and 2 hours has gone by, and really that's wasted time.
Actually, social media, as you're saying, it's true. It is actually an addictive behavior.
Yeah,
It is those little shots of dopamine that we
Yeah.
have in our brain. Every
Right.
time we see something, we get addicted and we look through more and look through more, and it's just the little droplets of dopamine that
yeah,
actually affect our work life because it just adds something else on our calendar.
right.
Our calendar,
right.
as you know, is such an important thing. In part of creating this balance is really of looking at our calendar. If our calendar does not show balance,
Yeah, that month at a glance. You can look at that month at a glance, and if you see that there's so many things on there, but before we get into the calendar, you mentioned about the dopamine, and I was actually talking to my clinical supervisor the other day, and we were talking about how the DSM with the mental health diagnosis, how that changes every so often,
yes,
like every 2 to 3 years or so, right?
yes,
And she was saying she believes that in the next edition, which it would be the DSM-6, that social media addiction to social media is going to be in there.
Yeah, I agree.
And that's how prevalent the problem is. Yeah.
We will definitely see it, and I actually see that in my work line, working with clients, whether it be couples or individuals, the addiction to social media and how it shows up, even in pornography. But again, this is not the topic for it today, but
right.
it is that addiction, that little dopamine rush that we get when we're connected.
Because even that's a switch. Because years ago, when someone had an addiction to pornography, they may spend money on a magazine. Now, you're not going to spend 2 and 3 hours on a magazine, but if you're looking at it online, it's more likely that you're going to give more time to that. And of course, giving more time to that is taking away from other things.
Yeah. So this is a perfect transition, as you mentioned. There is how we are so caught up in the what to do in life, like gotta do. So trying to create balance of work and life, because as I shared, at the beginning relationship, they start really connecting, and then the children come, and then more responsibilities. So eventually the couples start really dividing. They really start dividing, and in dividing in this world of business. So what happens is that the pornography on the phone becomes something that they start looking at and start even taking them further away from their partners. And the most of the women, what they tell me, all I want to do, Dr. Luz, is I just want to go to sleep.
Yeah.
When I look at the bed, nothing else matters to me. I just want to go to sleep. And it's because there is no balance between work life and so pornography, or more so the technology, that little dopamine rush, it's really interfering in our daily lives.
Yeah, to continue in that vein, we think even about how, so I learned that the bedroom should focus solely on sleep and intimacy, right?
Yes.
A lot of people put TVs in their bedroom, but that takes away from your relationship. If you don't have a relationship, then it takes away from you resting.
Yes.
And rest is important, right?
Yes, it is.
In order to have balance, you also
in your work life,
you have to be rested, because if you're tired, you can't really function and think straight. And most of the time, you're trying to accomplish things during the day, and you're doing it halfway because you're tired, right? So. Okay, so, we work with that, right? But now we take our phones into the bedroom.
Yes.
So before we go to sleep, we're scrolling, and we go to sleep with that on our minds, whatever we're scrolling, and also the light from the phone also does something to interrupt your sleep, that you will have a harder time getting into a REM sleep, right?
It does.
Yeah, and then first thing in the morning, people are picking up their phones. Let me see what's going on. So you don't have time now. You don't have that time to yourself, really, to meditate, to regroup, to recharge, and get ready for the day. Because let's just say there's something on there that upsets you. Now you're upset. Now you want to talk on the phone to your friend all day because somebody said something on social media that you're upset about. I mean, it's, I hate to present social media as a total villain, because I believe that there's good and bad in everything, but we have to, again, go back to balance.
Yes, it is. It's work-life balance.
How to balance.
So I think it's just a new culprit that we're talking about, how social media is really impacting So in our lives, that is affecting the quality of our relationships. It really, really is.
Anything done in extreme is error, right?
It
so
is.
so so we also talked about um being flexible.
Yeah.
So knowing that I did this yesterday, but this may not work today, right? So we have to be flexible and find out what's not working and make that shift. And know that we are evolving every day. We're evolving, we're changing. And so, I had to, I think I'm like, gosh, why is this not working? Why am I so frustrated? Why am I so tired?
Yes.
And it's because I'm trying to keep doing the same thing and expecting different results.
Yeah, and it just
right?
does not.
It's chaos.
It is really chaos. It does not help us. So again, going back, how do we create this balance between, work and life? And I think it's understanding, what do you want out of life? Like, ask yourselves, what do you want
What's
out of
essential?
life? What do we want out of life? And one of the things I know we've mentioned before in a conversation about the importance of minimalism.
That's right.
Minimalism is really like the birth of minimalism really came, if you ask me, as more chaos has in our lives. So it somehow, somewhere in life, when we look at our ecosystem, it always tries to look for a balance, and minimalism has been a birth to create that.
Yeah. I mean, people are looking for solutions, just trying to understand, what's happening and just come up with solutions. A resource that I was reading recently was a book called Essentialism, right?
Yeah.
And it talked about being an essentialist is another form of minimalism, but minimalism is a reference to things and acquiring things and having too many things to take care of. Like, I don't like when people give me Chomsky's, like, sometimes people will give you, like, some little statue to take care, for a gift and think, oh, it's the gift that counts. And I say to my friends, I would rather a $5 gift card to Dunkin' Donuts or something, because I don't have to take care of it. And it's going to give me a meal, right? when I might be in a crunch or something, right? Because the more things we have, the more time we have to dedicate to taking care of those things. Obtaining is one thing, maintaining is another, right?
Yes.
So minimalism refers to things, whereas essentialism is talking about you as a person. The things that you're saying yes to, and the things that you're not saying no to, that will make your yes and that thing that's more important possible.
Yeah.
Right?
So, and again, like looking at balancing work life, that is so essential. We're talking about minimalism. We're talking about using our calendar, time management. And I like to add another one here. As an entrepreneur, like, I do know there's a lot of entrepreneurs out there that feel that, but, if you work on an 8 to 5 job, you're making sense.
Yeah.
Well, the way I work with a lot of entrepreneurs is, and it's really important, is that, you prioritize 3 things in the day that got to get done. This is going to get done. 1, 2, and 3.
Right.
And then the rest, whatever, will flow. And if you focus mainly on those 3 things and they get done, what that will do is maintain your life continuously in flow and in movement. And that is one thing that there's research that shows that is the best approach with those that have jobs that are extremely, because you have some workaholics that are there, push, and at the end of the day, they exhaust themselves, they burn themselves, lose their relationships, and then they come and see me.
And we say that about entrepreneurs, but in this time that we're in, people are working more jobs because they're trying to make ends meet. Like, I know someone who has 2 jobs and was trying to do relationship and and my thing in looking at them as a couple, that do you even have the bandwidth to add a relationship if you're working 80 hours a week? Like, you're working 2 full-time jobs. Like, do you have the bandwidth for that? And sometimes we're just taking on more and then not understanding, well, I'm in this season where I have some debt that I need to address. let me address that and let me get back to, relationship later, because relationships are work. They're hard work, and they require something of you. And I think about, if I was working two full-time jobs, I would tell everybody, like, don't call me, like, I'm going to work, I'm going home, I'm taking a shower, I'm going to sleep, and the next day I'm getting up and doing the same thing.
Yeah. So, like, this is where our culture has led us to. This is one of the sad things.
Yeah.
Our cultures has led us here in order for part of our survival. So we are dealing with this, therefore creating no connection between us, the depression, the anxiety. It is, we're in a really difficult place. And then we just, like we talked, adding technology. So it really requires so much different avenues for us to work. And there's time, like, my phone is, it's not next to me, to be honest with you. I actually don't carry my phone. It's generally in my purse, or my phone is in a place where I get to, and I just make sure the volume is on when I need it. And, some people have something.
I can't say the same.
Oh, I do.
Friend.
You can't?
Let me just take my hat off to you. I'm going to be like you when I grow up. I'm just saying. Okay?
Yeah.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah.
I do. Actually, the way I created that, just real quickly, I went on a 2-year spiritual healing part of my life. Yeah. And part of that 2-year, one of them is I stopped TV. Only thing, and allow myself was music. And I watched a show, and I gave myself max like 30 minutes, if that was it. So you know what? I actually don't watch as much TV anymore. I focused on reading, on prayer, on meditation. And I do believe that was the best thing I could have done for myself. Now, I'm on my own. I understand it's different scenarios.
Right.
But I think we can take some of that version a little bit and apply.
Discipline.
A little bit to apply it even in relationships or in family.
Yeah.
Have family meetings, to create work and life. I mean, when I hear that, I think of life, I think of purpose, I think of connection, I think of beauty, I think of passion, and if we just work, then we don't create it. So, although I feel
like, I don't know about you, but, in our work, we deal with couples, and it's painful to see what people are going through when they're talking about how they don't have this balance and their lives are just chaotic. And when we talk about that month at a glance calendar, date night should be on there. Time with my spouse, or time with my boyfriend, girlfriend, whomever is your significant other, and that should be on there also. But some people feel like, why should I have to schedule to see my partner or talk to? But this is life, and what we did years ago wasn't working, so we need to do something different, right?
Yes.
If we want different results, we need to do something different.
I do offer that to my clients, and I generally get a lot of resistance.
Yeah.
And their response generally, that's not organic.
Yeah.
It's not organic.
Yeah, that's what they think.
It's not organic. I said, well, if you want things to be organic, how can you create something organic when you have a life that is so chaotic?
But you even said something key, that, okay, so yes, I'm putting date night on the calendar, but you said, when we were talking about it earlier, you said that you encourage them to connect with each other throughout the day. Hey, you're walking past that person. I know you got laundry on your mind, but, you might want to squeeze that thigh for a minute.
I do. I
saying.
actually give my clients homework assignments.
Yeah.
Part of the homework assignments is that they have connection throughout the day, even if they work in separate places.
Right.
And I know there's some jobs required, like, less ability to be able to connect. But, it's like that little text.
Yeah, throw that little kiss emoji.
Oh, my God, yes. Like, I receive
flowers.
I receive my flowers, and let me tell you,
yeah.
And when I receive it means a lot.
It means
to
a
me.
lot.
It really warms my heart. Yeah.
To let that person know that even in the midst of the busyness, I'm thinking about you. Yes, things are busy. I may not be able to stop right now and talk to you, but and even like sometimes something may happen during the day, and right now I don't have a partner, so my daughter and I, or my aunt and I,
and I may not be able to discuss something that's happened, but I'll just text them and just say, I'm feeling really frustrated right now.
I can't talk, but I'm just saying. And, and just that text and saying it and getting it out, it helps you to make it through the day.
It really does.
That you've included that person that's important to you in your day and connected with them to let them know, look, something's going on right now. I can't talk about it, but something's going on right now and I'm feeling really upset. Or, if you went through maybe a breakup or something, and, that's grief.
It is.
People are grieving like never before. And sometimes people might not be able to stop during the day. So you might send that text and say, whew, child, I'm having a moment. Because I tell people, no, it's not even minute to minute. It's second by second with grief. 1 minute you can be fine and the next minute not.
Yeah.
So, that's a part of balancing things too, is staying connected, knowing how to stay connected.
It really is, because we just don't know what life is going to show up today.
Right.
Next day, tomorrow, the following day. We just don't know what life is going to bring to us. So the more we grow from every experience, and not just grow, we put things into action. Because this is where people get stuck with my clients. It's like, yeah, Dr. Luz, I heard that, but I can't put it into action. So what I generally say is like, let's look at the calendar and let's see what it is that we can do, or what stops you from putting yourself into action.
Right.
So for me,
what's the barriers?
It is the barriers. Is really looking at work and life and asking yourself, what do I want out of life? If my only thing I want out of life is to work and bring in some money, well, that is the only thing you're going to get, because that's where your focus is.
Yeah. And sometimes because you may have created, or someone else created, some financial strains, sometimes that has to be all that you can do and focus on right now. And even as we wrap it up and come to a close, I hope that we've, giving you some pointers and things in your life to look at that could be causing you harm and could be throwing you off balance, your relationship off balance, your work off balance. Hopefully you're able to look at those things, regroup, and find out what a different approach would bring you to.
So let's just to sum up, like if you're a single mom, look for organizations that can really, really be of support out there. If not, see what you could do, advocate to create one for yourself. Those are the calendar. I know it doesn't sound organic, but the calendar is really important with your time management. Ask yourself, what do you really want out of life? And what you want out of life is what you're going to focus on, and that's what you're going to get. So that's
I even teach my granddaughter about that calendar and the importance of it, because she's always asking me, well, how long is it before I get to go such and such place? And I said, go get the calendar, and this is the date you're going. So every day you can exit off. We can't live life haphazardly, right?
No, we can't. No.
And expect to have that balance.
So look in your life, look at the things we said, some of you may need to become a little bit more minimalist. I know that spirituality, connection is so important to really create that life that you want.
They need to check out that book on essentialism, so that you can learn to prioritize what's important, knowing when to say no. Just so you know, no is a complete sentence. Okay, it's
yes,
complete.
It is.
Okay?
It is most important.
And it's hard, if you want to try to please people, but one man's happiness is going to be another man's sorrow sometimes. So, you have to pick and choose and know that if you're going to suffer in the end because you wrote a check that you can't cash. Okay, so, basically.
It really is. So there are things you can be created under your control, and it does require some action and actions. And technology is addicting us and creating us away from things that we really need to be refocusing and selecting our priorities. So as we wrap up, I just want to say, I just wish you the best. And here we are, different voices. My name is Dr. Luz Maria.
And I'm Lisa Frank. Thank you for sitting in with us on another